All right, and I'm back. I actually got two more really excellent submissions. So I was just going to read that incredibly long Lovecraft. Oh, my tripod's falling over. That's no good. Let's adjust that. Okay, that should be a little more stable. So I got another wonderful poem from Muse of Vulnerability, Jess. I'm very excited to read that because the accents that are in it are going to make it very enjoyable to listen to, and I'm going to do my best to make the Nutcracker, oh my god, I definitely just said that. The Nutcracker as creepy as possible because it's definitely a creepy poem. I also received a poem. Jess, I just talked about yours. I'm very excited to do it. Those accents are going to make it such an excellent auditory listen. And I received another one from Ashley Does Poetry, which I'm also going to read. And since I have a fresh hour, I will then go into the incredibly long Lovecraft poem just for, I mean, you guys don't have to stay because it's incredibly long, but I will be doing the extremely long one after I read these last two submissions. I just want to thank anybody that's in here who stayed for the last hour because that was the best live I've ever done. I had like 32 people in attendance. It was freaking fantastic, and it absolutely made my day. I've never had such a successful live. I've never had double lives with patch-ins that were so successful. Even my reading, I think, was much more on point than usual, and I'm just so grateful for having had this experience. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the new poem that I received just now by Ashley Does Poetry. Actually, she's not here yet, it looks like, so I'll just go ahead and do Jess's poem. Oh, here's Ashley. So we're going to do Jess's poem first, and then we're going to do Ashley. This is a poem by Muse of Vulnerability, who is Jess, and I'm loving this cover gif that is there. And it's so apropos for what I'm about to read because it's just fantastic. I'm gonna try really hard to do the voices as much as I can. Anybody else who's just joining us, feel free to DM me some poems, Christmas themed or otherwise. And we're gonna start with Jess, who is Muse of Vulnerability's poem, "The Nutcracker." He was a bean of a boy, just 7 years old, and despite his naughty ways, never got scolded. It was the night before Christmas when he heard a knock at the door, and there found a brown paper package out on the floor. He took it in, opening it with a savage haste, the paper and ribbon now nothing but waste. When he found inside a nutcracker doll, he groaned and whined and threw it at the wall. Who would bother to leave me a toy so lame? Foolish boy, der Nussknacker is my name. The boy froze, for the nutcracker now stood 9 feet tall. He couldn't remember ever feeling quite so small. Bad boys like you must be punished for all you have done, and after tonight, for you there will be no more fun. He pounced on the boy with lightning speed. Now, boy, for these sins you must bleed. The nutcracker cracked each of the boy's little fingers with a snap. As they each fell off, the nutcracker would smirk. Oh, you won't be needing that. Jess, this kills. This absolutely kills. I I still can't get over this gif. I mean, man, thank you so much for sending that because it was an excellent, excellent read. You won't be needing that. Oh, that's glorious. Thank you so much. So we have Ashley Does Poetry, who also sent me. I actually found her poem and approached her about joining the live this evening. So this is Ashley Does Poetry. You used to breathe fire, putting cigarettes out on my skin. using your words against me as if they were weapons. But oh, as violent as you could be, sweetness still dripped from your lips like honey. You were like whiskey to the freezing after a cold December breeze. And as the winter wind blows, almost 8 years later, I'm reminded I'm still haunted by your ghost. But oh, I wouldn't mind feeling your fire again, feeling you burn the back of my neck if it meant hearing that voice of yours again. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much for that submission or allowing me to read your work. I really just appreciated this poem. And again, the background on this is just so apropos, and I think it really added to the piece. So thank you again. If anyone else is here that would like to add some submissions, please go ahead and send them along. I just send them to my DM and I will pull them up and read them. I'm going to now do what the point of the first live was to do. You're welcome, Ashley. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to read that massive Christmas poem that I've been looking forward to it all year. So again, here's the initial illustration. And get comfortable, or listen while you find poems to submit to me to read after this, because this is an extremely long piece, but I promise it is worth every second. This is Old Christmas by H.P. Lovecraft. Ye modern throng whose tinsel joys reveal the strained and labored ecstasies you feel, whose empty pastimes hold a spurious bliss, and feebly copy brighter days than this. Your clumsy games suspend and pause to hear of genuine mirth and ancient Christmas cheer. Would that some druid wise in mystic lore might waft me backwards to the scenes of yore. Midst happier years my wandering soul detain, and let me dwell in Anna's virtuous reign, warm in the honest glow of pure content, and share the boons of rustic merriment. Hi, Dragon Wolf, welcome. Awake, Pierian muse, and call to view the snow-clad groves and plains my grandsires knew. Bring back the winding road and neat-clipped hedge that primly skirts the forest's shadowy edge. Revive the picture and adroitly weave over all the subtle spell of Christmas Eve. Hark to the merry strains of Yuletide song as the full coach to Norfolk flies along, its ample rooms scarce able to confine the homebound crowd whose voices gaily join. See the stout driver whose rubescent face grows redder at each wayside stopping place, and the flushed passengers, their cheeks aglow with the cold air and gently stirring snow. Behold yon sturdy lads in height of glee, from classics rod and masters percept free. Read in each laughing face and manly smile the future glories of Britannia's Isle. Swift whir the wheels and smartly snaps the whip, the swaying coach assumes a livelier clip. Down the long road in majesty we fly, and 100 cots and hamlets sweeping by, whilst now and then a rural wain we sight, high piled with holly for the festive night. Up the steep slope our cumbrous chariot creaks, attains the crest and lowlier meadows seeks. Before our gaze the steepled town expands, and grateful eyes survey the extended lands. Through melting clouds the frosty moonlight gleams, and gilds the picture with bewitching beams. O'er spire and roof the genial radiance steals, and every grove the pleasing magic feels. Now rolls the coach through many a cobbled street, where well-stocked shops the thrifty buyer greet. A gaping crew our rattling course attend, and urchins hail the driver as their friend. The tavern gate at length our flight concludes, where varied solace suits our several moods. Apicius in the spacious kitchen spies the hams and bacon that delight his eyes, and stout Lucullus seeks the sweet relief of hot plum pudding, musty ale, and beef. Sean Thomas, this is H.P. Lovecraft. I promise to go over everything when I'm done. This is extremely long though, so I'm going to try not to stop. The important coachman struts in pompous pride, while 4 fresh horses to the stage are tied. The travelers take their place one by one, and the long journey is once more begun. Brief is our tide ere through the boarding trees the watchful eye a lighted window sees. Our travels done, their lumbering coach we leave, and the lodge gates our weary forms receive. Here Granny Goodwife to an infant train repeats her oft-told legends once again, tells of the sheeted vision of the hall, and how the spectre scales the garden wall. The withered crone with joy our footsteps hears, and greets her former charge with genuine tears. Dear wrinkled ancient, faithful nurse of yore, who nursed ourselves and nursed our sire before. The bliss of home, what heavenly raptures vie with the sweet joys that in our birthplace lie. Each stone and timber hallowed by the past, where the countless generations breathed their last. No inch of ground in all these acres wide but bears a symbol of ancestral pride. In park and mansion, wall and hedge we trace the mystic aura of our honored race. Along the well-kept walks we quickly tread, and seek the lights of home that gleam ahead. About our feet canine battalions bark, they know their master, even in the dark. The full-orbed moon with intermittent rays about the lawns and terraced garden plays. On the white paths unusual shadows throw, and makes a fairy landscape as it glows. Now open wide the door from whence there floats a merry discord from unnumbered throats. 'Tis Christmas Eve, and all the household join in revels fitting to our ancient line. Master and servant each glad rite go through, and the old Saturnalian pledge renew. The servile throng in boisterous games disport, while the staid guests to milder joys resort. Bright Christmas candles and vast hall illume, the sprigs of holly deck each spacious room. The mistletoe in splendor is displayed, to tempt the swain and trap the unwary maid. But over all the rest in stately fame, see the great Yule log with its fulgent flame. The lordly log a mighty heat exhales, and over the chill of winter air prevails. Gives an eternal promise of the spring that Sol turned back the northern climes will bring. The solstice day our pagan fathers kept, and hailed the turning sun while nature slept. Their simple fanes with evergreen entwined, to fix the coming days of warmth in mind. Succeeding years elaborate forms impose, and the plain feast to Saturnalia grows. But though the throng the Roman god adore, the ancient customs linger as before. An age still newer blends the heathen glee with the glad rites of Christ's nativity. Yet firm through every change of outward show, we keep the ancestral feasts of long ago. Fair is the glow that from the Yule clog spreads, is the warm welcome every feaster sheds. Is the warm welcome every feaster sheds. With patriarchal grace the squire imparts a genial mirth, and lights the coldest hearts. On the mixed crown a family blessing lays, and wakes the Christmas cheer of former days. Here sport a merry train of young and old, aunts, uncles, cousins, kindred, shy and bold. The ample supper every care dispels, and each glad guest in happy concord dwells. With Yuletide songs the time-blessed roof awakes, while the gray harper into music breaks. Feasting in joy the spacious mansion fill, nor dares intrude one jarring note of ill. Upon the oaken floor the children find ecstatic bliss and toys of every kind. Less simple gifts the elder throng reward, but all partake the season's blessed accord. Now comes the dance, wherein each airy school of jigs and capers claim alternate rule. The honest squire leads forth his gentle spouse, and with a rigadoon excites the house. Moll Patley and her homely country dance vie with the latest tripping steps from France. Terpsichore amazed the scene observed, and flees the unfamiliar dips and curves. Yet more of honest joy therein resides than in cold London's stateliest turns and glides. And dancing o'er we climb the broad oak stair, and seek the bedside with an evening prayer. On the still night in sacred chorus floats, that waits sweet harmony in faint-born notes. Such choirs, methinks, remind the grateful earth of herald angels at our Saviour's birth. Thus lulled with liquid song divinely blessed, on Christmas Eve we softly sink to rest. Hail to the holy morn, when joy and peace reign o'er the land, and every boon increase. A golden sun the encircling park awakes, and gaily glitters on the ice-bound lakes. Each frosted lawn and whitened terrace gleams with growing splendor in the rising beams, while silver chimes from gorgeous spires proclaim to listening meads the great Messiah's name. In family chapel we devoutly hear the virtuous squire read forth the word of cheer. Then to the morning meal and daily walk, where innocence enjoys its harmless talk. In ordered gardens we at ease converse, and the fond bliss of Christmastide rehearse. Now sounds the bell from the proud steepled fane, wherein the parson holds benignant reign. Down the long slope with reverent steps we go, and meet the peasants from the town below. Each rural clown his Sunday raiment wears, and every face a smile of greeting bears. Behold the churchyard where in silence lie the honest villagers of days gone by. From such brave blood great England rose of yore. God grant the future may produce us more. Within the church a fervent sermon rings, and the full choir a pious anthem sings. The rural choristers chant loud and strong, and have in spirit what they lack in song. The black-gowned chaplain, modest of his wit, reads the wise precepts other parsons have writ. No laurel for himself he seeks to gain, but gives his flock the best his books contain. The service done, our genial squire extends an invitation to his humble friends. Up to the hall in many an awkward group, the gaping swains and happy ploughmen troop. Beneath the master's roof they take the feast that richly waits the lowliest and the least. With merry pastime stir the quiet air, and bless their patron for the liberal fare. 'Twas thus the Romans at this season gave Saturnian license to the serf and slave. Our British race the ancient gift improve, and treat the peasant with paternal love. Assist gay gastronomic muse, while I in noble strains sing pork and Christmas pie. What quill like mine can more than half afford a proper notion of the Yuletide board? Quick to the hall a numerous crowd pour in at the sharp summons of the rolling pin. Saucers and flagons, cups and many a plate, in festive eagerness the spread await. The impatient throng half grudge the pious space that the good squire consumes in saying grace. And from each throat a grateful sigh is drawn as the boar's head in majesty comes on. The stout grey butler pompously sustains the silver plate and shows officious pains. One on each side, two sober menials bear refulgent dips with ceremonious care. With rosemary the platter is bedecked, while harpers' chords increase the glad effect. The ready crowd an Oxford song repeat, and loud in ancient style the roasted meat. The college Latin, pleasing to recite, improves the feast and whets the appetite. But not alone the stately boar is placed to please the palate and reward the taste. Huge sirloin mountains dot the damask field, and peacock pies our haunting odor yield. Puddings and gravies, sauces, roasts, and stews enchant the diner and defy the muse. Now come the servant band with brush and tray to clear the remnants of the feast away. Upon the board the wassail bowl is laid, filled with nectar by old precepts made. To each the silver dish is passed around, whilst merry wassail songs aloft resound. In ancient fashions every guest partakes, and the rich wine unwonted brilliance wakes. Alas, that man should ever be so prone to seek a Bacchic humor not his own. Quips, jest, and stories now untrammeled start, and harmless gossip plays a pleasing part. Legends and anecdotes appear in state, and grow the larger as they circulate. Even the staid parson drops his sober mien, and joins the others in the jovial scene. But mad hilarity at length subsides, and prattling youth its sweeter joy provides. The hall is cleared, and all the infant throng conduct their pastimes with diverting song. Unreason's abbey full dominion claims, and leads the children in their ancient games. Quaint mummers through the spacious house parade, and former times in costume are displayed. Old Father Christmas dances hand in hand with some odd Indian of the western land. Turks jostle Roundheads, all the mimic train obey the laws of Saturn's festal reign. Gay Drury Lane, such acting never beheld, and Covent Garden's masks are here excelled. Frolic and fun and laughing pantomime surpass description and confound our rhyme. The evening shades touch many a tired head as the young rompers breathless climb to bed. Our older hand in fireside comfort sit, and tell our tales or try our shafts of wit. O'er all the company a peace descends, whilst the great log its cheering radiance lends. To every mind here comes a thankful thought for the rich blessings that the day hath brought. And many a scoffer bred in London air, midst this calm scene ends up in silent prayer. Here virtue rules, and each contented swain enjoys the bliss of his paternal plain. A life like this benignant heaven designed to lift the soul and soothe the fretful mind. Why must our modern wits in scorn refuse these rural realms where sires were proud to choose? Above the frozen grave the moon appears, in tender light the quiet garden cheers. The winding walks, the fountains, and the green take on the semblance of a fairy scene. Light dancing o'er the sod an elfin crew, and fond imagination come to view. And friendly pines in rhythmic measure sway, their patron nymphs responsive to the play. All the soft picture seems alive with grace, and peopled with a sweet ethereal race. Through the still air bewitching spirits glide, and spread the sorcery of Christmastide. Must I awake to find these visions flown, the past long dead, and happiness unknown? Have honest merriment and rural cheer gone with the fleeting snows of yesteryear? Unhappy age, whose joys so ill contrast with the spontaneous pleasures of the past, where in our languid youth to gloom resort, and listless children must be taught their sport. Whose arts the stamp of waning power confess, and hide their weakness in eccentric dress. Canst thou not see thy many woes proceed from false ambition, commerce, haste, and greed? Wise is the man who spurns the seething times, nor madly up the hill of Plutus climbs, rests on his own hereditary soil, remote from care or avaricious broil. His father's place assumes and keeps his name on the calm records of agrestic fame. For such an one the field of learning waits, and art attends his hospitable gates. 'Tis his to feed the flame and sense and wit, and ancient lore to future times transmit. Preserve the good his grandsires proved before, and drive the wolf of dullness from the door. Each Gothic novelty with skill attack, and bring the grace of former ages back. Ye hoary groves, whose many-centuried oaks the wistful bard with longing lyre invokes, look down once more in your imperial state on such a race as made old England great. View once again the hardy rural squire, whose liberal soul contained a generous fire, whose mild dominion swayed the peasant hand, and spread contentment through the grateful land. Such and such only can the past revive, and keep our well-loved Christmas joys alive. Meanwhile the muse in reminiscent strain forget the years and sing those joys again. The end. Was that not the most incredible journey through the many faces of Christmas that are possible in this world? And how we had a huge conversation about this in the previous live, where I mentioned how when you're young, people go backwards and out of their way. Thank you, Jess. I'm glad you enjoyed it. CIA Words, thank you so much. Again, that was not my poem. That was H.P. Lovecraft, as read from his Fungi from Yuggoth and other poems. You know, we talked about before how there's a gap between generations where the older people aren't capable or interested in doing the Christmas things that, you know, all of those early parts of the poem. And then as we age, there's a gap, you know, there's no new generation of 40 million children. The older generation is tired. And, you know, me, myself, I'm in the gap. So I feel with great intensity that difference between how it was as a child and how it is now. And I long intently for those days to return. And that poem just kicks me right in the heart. And I love it because it's so hard to articulate those feelings, but it's also so wonderful to have someone write out in such incredibly unbelievable detail all the things about Christmas that make it incredible. From the sleigh ride to the church to the double food dinners to the parson coming to the house afterward and eventually getting drunk. That was cool. You know, and the kids going to bed and the old people sitting around having a couple drinks and just being grateful. And I think it's important to focus on that as we move through our lives and just know that it's going to come back. Anyway, that's my favorite Christmas poem, and I never expected it from H.P. Lovecraft. I was completely bowled over. The reason I found that poem was I bought a bird. I have a little parakeet upstairs, and I was trying to get her used to the sound of my voice. So I just picked up this book that I've read it so many times. I guess I didn't resonate with that poem. And I read it to her, and she loved it. It was so funny. She kept coming closer and closer. It was so nice. But that first reading of that old Christmas poem absolutely stuck with me. And I'm really happy to be able to share it. Just checking my DMs here to make sure I didn't miss anything that anyone sent me. Nope, I think that's it. I can, oh, Sean Thomas, I have one of your poems. You were, just arriving when, I think I have two of your poems, actually. What does it say here? Yep, two, okay. So I'll continue on with, two poems from Sean Thomas Poetry. Let me just pull those bad boys up. This was an amazing set of lives, and I want to thank everyone who was able to come and make this such an incredible thing. This is the second hour, so it's definitely a lot calmer, but the first hour was just absolutely bangerang, and I'm so grateful. Hi Nick, nice to see you again. I just finished up that 14-page Christmas poem that I've been ranting about. Okay, so here we have a poem from Sean Thomas Poetry. Tell me if it is so wrong of me to want to see a box shaped like you sitting underneath my Christmas tree on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day should be shared with those you most dream. So tell me if it is so wrong of me to want to feel the warm sting of your lips underneath the mistletoe on the 25th day of December. I would make winter love to you in 25 different ways if I could remember them all. By the time the first snowflake falls, so tell me if it is so wrong of me to want you. Is it wrong of me? I absolutely adore that, Sean. That was so gorgeous, from the box being under the box shaped like you. That was such a gorgeous line. And for some reason, the way you spaced out the 25th day of December in the second stanza absolutely stuck out to me. I really adore that. I would make winter love to you in 25 different ways if I could remember them all by the time the first snowflake falls. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this. And the second poem by Sean. She dashed my hopes of spending my days alone when she danced her way into my heart. She pranced all over it as a sweet love song played on in the background. Now I cannot imagine my days without her, a music video without its video vixen that is nowhere near complete, not by any means. She means worlds to me. Her beauty strikes me like a comet, knocking me off of my axis, making it difficult to breathe. Cupid did right by me when he sent her my way, as she donned her angel wings and led the heavens in a blitzkrieg upon my heart. You are the one true queen of my love, and I can think of none who would dare to ever challenge your reign, dear. That is so beautiful. Strikes me like a comet, knocking me off of my axis. I think that's my favorite line. Thank you so much for sending these, Sean. I know I've only recently discovered your work, but your stuff is just fantastic, and your structure is just so conducive to my personal internal eye as far as reading, and I'm very grateful to have come across your profile. Yeah, I want to be that woman now too. You're so welcome, Sean. Excuse me, I think I need a drink. I have my Christmas cuppy with cardinals and mistletoe and not carnations, poinsettias and whatnot. So I think that's it, guys, unless anyone has anything else that you would like to share with me. I have a couple more poems that I was not able to get to today, but I'm again completely bowled over by how that first live went. Thank you, CIA. CIA? I don't believe we've met formally, so I will have to get to know you a little better. But thank you very much for the compliment. So I think that's all as far as submissions and things, and I did get to read that incredible poem, and I'm so glad that you all enjoyed it. It's amazing. I thought as soon as I got into the second page, everybody was going to disappear. So thank you so much for staying, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will also post this video onto YouTube in conjunction with the first one. When I closed the first video, it said I had over 30 not followers, but attendees, and that just kind of blows my mind, because I think the most I ever had was 12. That's double plus, and I'm completely amazed and so, so, so grateful. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for enjoying this incredible part of my Christmas season. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to restrain myself from doing this again before Christmas. It just went so incredibly well, and I enjoyed all of your company so much. And those double lives earlier were just wonderful. I really look forward to doing that again. So I will probably shut this down. I'll give it a minute if anybody else wanted to send anything over real quick. I have, you know what? I'm going to read. Wait, I did Sean's, so I can cross him off. Yeah, there's only 3 left, and those people weren't able to attend because of time zone differences. But I think I'm going to go ahead and read them anyway, just so I can direct them to the live. So first we're going to do Jerry Kirk. I was going to just end it, but I really don't want to leave anybody out in the dust. So let's see, Jerry Kirk. I talked to a lot of people today, and it was incredible. Okay. This is by Jerry Kirk Creations. Here, let's see if you can see that. Jerry Kirk Creations. This is called The Garden in December. Thank you, Sia. I appreciate that you appreciate my atmosphere. I think as far as like when doing readings, there's really no need to put the camera on my face. It's just distracting to myself and the reader. And I don't do nearly as much lives because I'm always worried about my stupid hair or my makeup or being fat and whatever. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's just not do that anymore. So I put up my little logo, and I think that's more than enough. Okay, so this is Jerry Kirk Creations, and the poem is called The Garden in December. The garden in December is fragile, stiff, brown, prepared to sleep with snow and wake in spring. So quiet without birds. Breath is clouds, grass crunches underfoot, and hard dirt glistens in cold, crisp air. Skinny poles lie crooked and collected, ready for beings to climb and give them purpose. Comfort in the garden knowing that this small square patch of labor waits patient to give birth. That was a shorter but still very visually impactful poem, and I really appreciate the imagery of, you know, I'm a gardener. I appreciate the cultivation of plants from seeds, and it's so sad when they go to seed, they die, they wait for the next year, and it was very well captured, I think, by Jerry Kirk Creations. I had another one from P2. Just gonna try and find that real quick. P2_gallery. This one was very interesting. Wait, he said, let me send it again, because there was typos. Okay. So, this is done in 2 languages. So I'm going to try my best. I'm not sure what the first language is. Kai kaisa ti ya ni ko. Nanak vas ti pan hangam yoro. Just on and on the vast field flows, signals to heart to let it go. Kaya kaisa covers my trace, bury them deep beneath surface. Wash them away with all your grace, leave none behind at that old place. Take all my smiles, take all my tears, take all there are, and to leave it clear, erode my prints, my hints, my fears, setting memories to freedom. Let them remember not my presence. Never I wish to be a burden. No, I don't want to be your prison, only a home of warm reverence. Kaya, kaisa, if you can't see, all home, all whom I need were never free. The fun, the time, the companies were never free at least for me. Perhaps I'm too greedy to say, to bow, to beg, to make them stay, to seek attention they hate to pay. Foolish of me to be that way. No longer I'll be immature, to give my heart if they're not sure. Shall I remain forever pure? One thing that's clear, I won't endure. Kaya, Kaisa, bury my trace. Wash them away with all your grace. Leave none to sights, none to chase. Leave none to feel, none to embrace. I adore that. There may have been some out of orderness here. I could have sworn that the poem had explained what the Kaisa, or what it meant. Okay. Snowflakes, lots of snow falling down upon this place completely covers the vast fields of immense nostalgia. Kai-a means snowflakes, while Kaisa is the plural form of Kai-a, either translating as lots of snowflakes or obviously snow. So the repetition of Kai-a, Kaisa, Tianiko, just on and on the vast field flows, signals to heart to let it go. Bury them deep beneath the surface, wash them away with all your grace. Leave none behind at that old place. I really enjoy the way that this poem focuses on the cleanliness, the way that snow purifies things, removes the tracks that were, removes any proof. It, purifies everything. And then there was that part about not wanting to beg for attention, and it alludes to a certain loneliness in that snow, but still not wanting to let go of that sense of self and that pride of self that does not want to allow you to beg for the attention that is obviously not a priority for another person. And it is better to just be one with the snow and let it flow over all of that. And I really, really enjoyed that poem. I just want to make sure I credit the writer again. That was P2 Gallery. P2_Gallery. Hello, Cornelius Rage. Nice to see you. Sean Thomas Poetry. I have to read out all your comments because when I put this on YouTube, the comments disappear, so it seems like I'm talking to myself. So Sean Thomas Poetry says, I'm honestly so thankful for you to have read me here, and I had a wonderful time listening to your Lovecraft reading as well as the other pieces I was able to hear, but I must say goodnight here. Good night, Sean Thomas. Thank you so incredibly much for coming by and staying with us and enjoying this incredible boon of incredible poetry to celebrate the season of winter, the holidays of Christmas, whatever other holidays you're enjoying, whatever makes you feel warm and fuzzy. I hope we touched on it here in the last hour and however much time. What do we have? Wow, hour and 45 minutes. I can't believe it's been almost 2 hours. Jess, thank you for coming by. Who's still left in here? Sean, Odysseus, Jess, and Cynthia. Thank you guys so much for coming by. I hope everyone has a great night for sure. It was definitely a pleasure. Sean, I'm glad you feel that way. I hope to see you again on another live. And again, guys, thank you so much for coming by. This was truly the best set of lives that I've ever been able to do, and I'm eternally grateful for this experience. This was truly one for the books, and I'm glad I got to share my Lovecraft and so much incredible poetry from so many of you. And thank you again for coming by. I would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Mahala Kwanzaa, whatever it is you do. I hope it's one for the books. An absolute banger. packed with love and enjoyment. And if you're alone and you're just by yourself, I hope that you find the peace that you need to feel the warmth of everything around you. You're not the only one that's alone, and there's always other people in the world sitting in their houses by themselves on Christmas, wondering if it's just them, and it's not, and it never will be just them, just you. And I would encourage anyone, whoever needs to talk about anything, please DM me. My inbox is open to all persons of whatever type for whatever reason. And the holidays can be a real bitch for some people, and I absolutely understand that. But if that is any of you who have come in the last 2 hours, I would beseech you to talk. Just talk. Post, share, DM, whatever. I'm always around, and I would be more than honored to help alleviate those feelings. I'm going to close this down. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And I can't explain the gratitude I have in my heart, because it's hard sometimes to reach out to the world. And sometimes you reach out and you don't get anywhere. And today, that is not what happened. And I am beyond overjoyed to have had this experience. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart for coming out and enjoying the last 2 hours with me. And I'm going to go ahead and close the live. And I keep wanting to say thank you. Thank you and I am are two of the most powerful statements that I have ever come across in my life. And I am thanking you. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Winter, Solstice, whatever it is that you do. I hope it's awesome, and I hope that it continues to be awesome. Thank you very much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Good night.